Millionaire spots a black street kid wearing his missing daughter's necklace. What he uncovers changes everything. The red light on Fifth Avenue had never felt so endless. Robert Anderson, a 45-year-old businessman, tapped his fingers on the steering wheel of his Mercedes, staring at the usual Manhattan gridlock when something made his heart stop. A black boy, about 12, was slipping between cars selling candy. But that wasn't what caught Robert's breath. It was what dangled. From the boy's thin neck, a silver necklace with a diamond-encrusted butterfly pendant. The same necklace Robert had custom-made for Sophie last Christmas. The same Sophie who had vanished 4 days ago without a trace. Robert flung the car door open before he realized it. "Hey kid, wait!"
Talked the boy, Marcus, though. Robert didn't.
No, his name yet jumped and sprinted away. It wasn't paranoia. It was survival instinct. A rich white man shouting at him never meant anything good. "Please, I just want to ask about the necklace." Robert chased after him, ignoring the blaring horns behind. "Where did you get this?" Marcus finally stopped, panting on the sidewalk. His wary brown eyes studied Robert with the hard-earned wisdom of someone forced to grow up too soon. "I didn't steal it, sir, I swear." "I know, Robert," said voice trembling. "That necklace belonged to my daughter. She's missing." Marcus hesitated, sensing something in Robert's tone. No anger, no blame, only desperation. "I found a girl," he whispered. "She was hurt, hiding in an abandoned building in the Bronx. I thought she'd die, but she gave me this and begged me to find her father." Robert's head spun. "Where? Where is she?" "I looked after her for 3 days. She's alive, but—" Marcus bit his lip. "She told me who hurt her." "Sir, I don't think this was a normal kidnapping." Chill ran down Robert's spine. For days, begging police, hiring investigators, offering rewards, and it was a street kid society ignored who found his daughter. "Take me to her now," Robert said, grabbing his keys. "Okay, but you need to hear this first," Marcus said, glancing around nervously. "Before I found Sophie, I saw who left her, and sir—" He paused. "You're not going to like it." Robert froze. "What do you mean?" Marcus met his gaze. "It was someone she knew, someone you trusted. And from what I heard on the phone, this was all planned to destroy you too. If your heart's racing with this story of betrayal and mystery, subscribe to the channel, because what Marcus uncovered about the kidnapper's real identity will shock you as it shocked Robert. And the revenge they plan is more satisfying than any justice you've ever seen." Marcus motioned toward the subway. "She's in the Bronx, but we can't take your car. Too flashy." He hesitated. "And sir, when we get there, please don't yell. She's terrified." During the 40-minute subway ride, Marcus shared details that twisted Robert's stomach. Sophie had hidden in the basement of an abandoned building for days, wrists bruised as if tied up, dehydrated and scared. Most chilling of all, she kept whispering Uncle David, always through tears. David Mitchell, Robert's best friend. Of 20 years, Sophie's godfather, business partner, the man who comforted them after Sophie's mother died last year. The same David who'd urged Robert to hire extra security recently, saying he had a bad feeling, here Marcus whispered, stopping by a graffiti-tagged red brick building. "She's in the basement. I got her water and snacks, but she barely eats." Heart pounding, Robert followed Marcus into the dank stairwell. And there she was, Sophie, 9 years old, huddled on a filthy mattress, clutching an unfamiliar teddy bear. "Daddy," she croaked, her voice ragged. Lifting her head, he saw dark circles under her eyes and a haunted look no child should wear. Robert knelt, wrapping her gently in his arms. "I'm here, sweetheart. You're safe now." But questions burned. How did David know where to look? Why urge security now? What monster does this to a child? "Daddy," Sophie whispered, trembling. "Uncle David said it was a game you knew about. But then he yelled on the phone about money and contracts," he said. "If I told anyone, something bad would happen to you too." Marcus watched, arms crossed. "Sir, there's more. She heard him talk about transferring money, signing papers while you were searching." Robert went pale. For 3 days, while he'd hunted for Sophie, David had stepped in at work holding power over accounts, contracts, and clients. Robert had trusted him completely. He dropped his phone, Marcus added. I heard him laugh and say, when he learns what happened to the company, his daughter's pain will look like nothing. Robert hugged Sophie tighter. 20 years of trust shattered. David had been by his side when his wife died. He'd held Sophie as a baby. Now Robert saw why David had urged, don't call the police yet. A few more hours to finish the sabotage. Marcus crouched closer. Sir, he's not alone. Yesterday I saw him with 2 men in suits. One's that politician always on TV preaching about family. Robert felt his world tilt. This wasn't just betrayal. It was conspiracy, using his grief to blindside him. But as he clutched Sophie and looked at Marques the boy, everyone overlooked a spark ignited inside. Determination, Marques whispered. Will you help me stop them? Marcus nodded without pause. Then we must outsmart them. Robert said, voice cold. David never guessed Robert hadn't built his empire by being naive. With truth and an unlikely ally, revenge would be devastating. In 24 hours, while Sophie recovered under a false name, Robert made a move David wouldn't expect. He halted the public search, canceled media alerts, dismissed detectives. David called, faking concern. Don't give up, Robert. But Robert wasn't giving up. He was preparing. Moving into a small Bronx apartment near Marcus, he gathered real street intelligence David's money couldn't buy. Marcus proved priceless, knowing every alley, every broken camera, every blind spot. Mr. Robert, Marcus reported one morning, grinning. That politician? I found his secret Bronx hideout. Da-da-da-da. His wife wouldn't like it. Then, luck struck. Robert met Alina Rodriguez, a tough lawyer who hated men abusing power. Your friend kidnapped your daughter to loot your company? She scoffed. Typical. Bet he plans to rescue her himself to look heroic. She was. Right. David planned to find Sophie in 48 hours, posing as savior. But Marcus heard more. They'd meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. in an East Side Italian restaurant. A bribe of $50,000 to the politician. A crooked cop, keeping the real cops away. Fury hardened Robert. David hadn't just betrayed him. He corrupted police, politicians, risking a child's life for money. But Alina had proof. Traced wire transfers. Using David's personal account? No lawyer can bury this, she said. That night, Robert watched Marcus teaching chess to local kids. Tomorrow, Robert vowed, we act. And after this, you'll never go back to the street. Marcus, eyes weary, yet hopeful, asked, Are you sure? I don't belong to your world. You don't need to be rich. Robert smiled.
Us.
Free? David never foresaw the power of a grieving father, a sharp street kid, and a community tired of being pawns. The meeting was set for Tuesday, but David didn't know every word would be recorded on, every lie exposed. Documented, every lie exposed on camera, turning private betrayal into crushing public disgrace. None of them realized Robert had learned a key lesson about revenge in those days in the Bronx. That the best strategy isn't striking from above, with wealth and power, but from below with truth and unseen allies. Tuesday dawned under a gray sky, as if foreshadowing the storm about to break over David Mitchell. At exactly 2 p.m., David walked into the East Side Italian restaurant in a $3,000 suit, wearing the smug grin of someone convinced he'd executed the perfect scheme. Marcus sat unnoticed at a corner table, disguised as a delivery kid. His hidden mic caught every word, relaying it live to Alina, waiting in a van nearby. Gentlemen, David began, raising a glass to Congressman Harrison and Detective Murphy. Hope you like good champagne ware toasting our total victory? But David didn't know Robert had spent the last 2 days not only collecting evidence, but building a trap that would make this secret meeting a public catastrophe. 3 covert cameras filmed them from different angles. 2 journalists waited outside. Even more powerful, a live stream was broadcasting to 200,000 followers in real time. 50 grand for you. Harrison, David said, sliding an envelope. And 34 Murphy, for making sure no one investigates. Robert still believes we're helping find his kid. Pathetic. That's when Marcus calmly stood and walked over. Excuse me, gentlemen, he said, soft-spoken but steady. My name is Marcus, and I've got something of yours. David scowled. Who the hell are? I found Sophie. Marcus cut in, voice gaining steel. And I've heard every single word you've spoken these past 4 days. And right now, the world is hearing it too. David turned pale. What? Marcus's smile turned sharp, the look of a boy who had learned to beat masters at chess. Look around. That woman with the paper? Investigative reporter? The guy at the bar? Federal attorney? And those 3 new arrivals? FBI agents? Harrison? Tried to get up, but his legs shook so badly he nearly collapsed. Impossible. We were careful. You were arrogant, said a voice behind them. Robert stepped up, calm and resolute, flanked by Alina and agents. You underestimated a desperate father, a brilliant lawyer, and an invisible boy you didn't see coming. David shot up, voice cracking. Robert, let me explain. We've been friends 20 years. Friends don't kidnap daughters, Robert answered, his voice like ice. Friends don't plunder companies. Friends don't laugh at a child's terror. Alina opened a folder. David Mitchell, you're under arrest for kidnapping, extortion, laundering, conspiracy, and bribery. She eyed Harrison and Murphy. And so are you. Then came the true blow. Marcus showed them a tablet screen. See this? 500,000 people watching live and growing. Comments raged across the feed. Hashtag Justice for Sophie was trending. David's name was being linked to child abductor and traitor. His firm's stock had plunged 40% in 2 hours. His wife had already announced their divorce. Gasped. My career, my family. Sophie had a family too. Robert shot back coldly. Murphy tried to bargain. I can help give you info on others. Too late, Alina said firmly. You had years to do right. You chose wrong. When you thought nobody was watching, the agents handcuffed him. David, desperate, pleaded, Robert, you can't do this. I was your best man. Robert held his gaze. You're right. This can't just end. It must end with real justice. Lena showed another document. Remember transferring money? Through your personal account? That proves tax evasion, too. The IRS wants a word you owe $2 million. In that moment, David saw the full ruin. Not only prison, but ruin, divorce, children who'd changed their name, lifelong disgrace. Led away, he saw Robert hugging Marcus as crowds outside clapped. How, David whispered, did a street kid and a desperate father undo me? The answer, they hadn't underestimated anyone. David had underestimated everyone. And in the game of power, underestimating always leads to defeat. The restaurant where corruption had been toasted now echoed with a new harmony. Proof that real justice cuts across class, color, and power. 6 months later, Robert sat in the office of Anderson and Associates, the firm he built after selling his stake. Manhattan stretched beyond the window, but his gaze now saw purpose, not just profit. Marcus, wearing his St. Andrew's uniform, entered holding reports. Mr. Robert, the foundation helped 250 more kids off the streets this quarter. The Marcus and Sophie Foundation, born from money recovered from David's crimes, had become a national model. Sophie, now 10 and healing, had insisted on sharing. Marcus' name. He saved me first, she'd said. Lena. Now Robert's partner at work and in life, entered smiling. David got 25 years without parole. Harrison lost re-election by 82% state record. Murphy, bartending in Nevada. But the impact ran deeper. The live stream had been seen by over 50 million. Hashtag never underestimate turned into a movement. 3 documentaries followed. Dozens more corruption cases surfaced after people realized they had power. Robert glanced at a photo. Him, Sophie, Marcus, the day the adoption became official. Marcus had kept his surname, wanting to honor his past but belonged to a family. That afternoon, while driving Sophie home, she asked, Dad, did you forgive Uncle David? Robert paused. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, Sophie. It's refusing. To let hate control you. Marcus nodded. On the street you learn revenge hurts. Justice protects. Sophie smiled. Wild. And it builds better things, right? Exactly. Robert's firm now hired only people overlooked by society. Ex-homeless, immigrants, disabled workers. Productivity soared, turnover dropped. Marcus spoke to youth groups. You aren't invisible, you're underestimated. And that's power. That night, the governor called about partnering on Marcus's reintegration program. Hanging up, Robert saw his kids beaming. Know what's amazing? Sophie said, touching her butterfly necklace. Uncle David thought he knew Dad, but he only knew the mask. By the time he saw the real Dad, it was too late. Marcus laughed. Like chess, you look like you're losing until you're not. Meanwhile, in a prison 400 miles away, David reread articles on Robert and Marcus's success. His wife remarried, children disowned him, assets gone. Worst wasn't losing, it was seeing those he tried to ruin become stronger. They built from love what envy had tried to destroy. That night, Robert shut his laptop. The table beside him scattered with Sophie's drawings. Family, including Alina, proof that family is chosen, not born. Marcus came to say goodnight. Mr. Robert. Would this have happened if Uncle David wasn't greedy? Robert thought. Maybe not. Sometimes bad people give us the gift of revealing who we really are. David had tried to shatter a family, but forged a stronger one. Tried to steal a child's future, but gave him a home. Tried to break a man, but revealed a hero. The real triumph wasn't David in chains. It was Sophie's laughter, Marcus's graduation, hundreds of saved children. Because the best revenge isn't destroying enemies, it's building something so powerful their cruelty becomes meaningless. Proof that love and justice always win when brave hearts refuse to accept injustice as destiny. If this story moved you, subscribe for more proof that true heroes turn pain into purpose and that sometimes losing everything shows us what truly matters.